Welcome back to Basic Bananas Radio, where we share tried and tested ways to grow your brand and get more customers. Everything from the latest in marketing and branding, right through to growing your team and creating an irresistible culture.
Hi, and welcome back to Basic Bananas Radio. I am so excited today to chat with Almira Bardai. And in this show, we talk about how to enter and win awards and why winning awards can be such an incredible way for you to get more publicity. So let's jump straight in. Hi, Almira. It's so good to have you on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me.
And you're tuning in all the way from Vancouver, one of my all-time favorite cities.
I love it. And Sydney is my all-time favorite place. So here we
go.
are in mutual love for each other's cities.
Yeah, well, I think that Sydney and Vancouver actually have a lot of similarity in terms of the harbor and the people. And I think you probably have a bit better bars, hospitality stuff in my eyes, better parties.
Oh, it's so funny because I see it in your eyes, or in my eyes, that you actually have the better beaches, the better city. So it's funny how like Australians love Canada and Canadians love Australia. So we're sister countries.
Yeah, we totally are. So today we're going to talk about awards. And you've had your own PR agency for 25 years. You sold your agency. You've been working with entrepreneurs and business owners for many, many years, and you help them to become thought leaders and to increase their visibility. And one way to do that, we could talk about so many different things because your knowledge is so deep. One thing that you also talk about and help people with is winning awards and entering awards. And I feel like that's such a great topic to get started, and also something that is really useful for our listeners. So why awards? Why is this something that you're passionate about talking?
So specifically because there is a PR machine behind them. And so when we talk about PR, it is getting into newsletters or it's funny when I say newspapers and TV, it shows how long I've been in the industry for. But fundamentally, when an organization has awards or there's finalists and a winner, they will do marketing and publicity around it. So it's a great way to get free PR. And as you are, as an entrepreneur, building your personal brand as the CEO, the owner of your business, as well as the PR, the brand awareness for the company, awards are amazing to be able to be recognized as the leader you are, to be recognized as an industry leader, to showcase your company's achievements or yours personally as the head of the organization. So it's a wonderful avenue to be able to get out there from a marketing brand awareness perspective, and be it, again, for you personally or for the business, but then also is something that goes into your bio. So you always get to put it in your LinkedIn, or if you're speaking at an event, nominated or a finalist or a winner for whatever award it might be. So, purely from that brand awareness perspective, it's huge for credibility building. And, for me, as an example, is that when I've had my business, I've won a number of awards like 40 Under 40 or Canada's Top Female Entrepreneurs. So it automatically gets that sense of prestige, or also just recognition for all of the hard and amazing work that entrepreneurship is, right? So yes, it's wonderful for the ego, but it's also incredible to be recognized for all the hard work that goes into it, and that entrepreneurs contribute to the world and for what it is that we do. But also with awards is that there's so many companies out there, like, a larger corporate company. This is a great opportunity for entrepreneurs to be able to recognize for the innovative businesses that they do have. And particularly, there's a number of awards in tech. And now, especially with DEI, diversity and equity and inclusion, is recognition of female entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs of color. And this is a really great opportunity for them to shine, because there are these categories. And it's not to say that it's been created for, affirmative action or whatever it might be, but it's a recognition of a unique category or place where the entrepreneur might be. And so it's amazing. One, you get recognized, like I said, for the work that you do. But second of all, is that there is a PR machine behind it, that the organization will promote the finalists or promote the winners, getting on the front of a magazine. We work hard. It's nice to get that recognition, but you also get to tell the story of your business. And it's also great for recruitment, retention, and getting new clients. So there's a number of areas why awards are so wonderful, frankly.
And I love that byproduct that you're talking about the PR, because we can go out and try and get publicity through different avenues. And this is one such avenue that is really powerful. I guess the next question is what kind of awards, because a lot of listeners would go like, well, I don't know if I'm worthy to win an award. I don't even know where to find an award or how to enter an award. Do I even have a chance? Imposter syndrome. I just recorded another show on that topic with Artie Williams, amazing viewer also. And so the first question is, so where do you find which awards to enter? And then we can maybe talk a little bit about how to enter.
Yeah. I remember when my business partner and I first started our business, and we started and then ended up joining EO Accelerator and then moved into EO. And the first one that we did is that we actually belong to our local chamber of commerce. And so they recognize sometimes there's a marketing category or fastest growing business. Those are great ones, your local awards. And even from a personal perspective, a lot of communities will have volunteer of the year. And so if you are doing a ton of volunteering, outside of the business, absolutely get recognized for that. Here in Vancouver, we also have the Courage to Come Back Awards. And this is a story of personal resilience. And so, I think people are just so modest, and I don't want to sound offhandish about this, but, someone who might have beaten cancer and they're like, oh, it wasn't such a big thing. Well, actually it is, it's huge. And, a lot of survivor cancers will contribute then through fundraising or through further volunteering. And that's exactly what these awards do through Courage to Come Back. And so being able to say, yes, actually, I have done this. I am absolutely worthy of this award. And, you spoke to the whole worthiness piece. I think everybody is deserving of recognition and all the incredible work that they do. So going back to it, a local award or a volunteering award, but there are entrepreneurship awards. There is a 40 under 40, or maybe there's a marketing award. I know myself, I'm in Canada's Marketing Hall of Fame. So if you are in marketing or public relations, communications, there are Hall of Fames for a number of different industries. An industry publication, maybe it's manufacturing or something, they will have an award. Maybe it's Manufacturer of the Year, or there is Community Involvement of the Year, because maybe a manufacturing company is giving back to a massive degree. There's Women of Distinction Awards. So looking at those, and even within there, they'll have a Community Impact Award. So often looking for Community Impact Awards within whatever awards might be in your city, town, state, or country. A big one internationally is the Stevie Awards, and they look at awards from all over the world. That's STEV for Victor, i.e. Stevie Awards. I'm also a judge for the Stevie Awards, which is another thing that you can be doing, is that if you're not applying for an award, is that why not be a judge of these awards? And then finally, the Technology Awards. And I think this one is such a significant one because we are seeing technology everywhere. They will have Startup of the Year, Growth of the Year, maybe it's Innovation of the Year. There's just so many different ones. And again, they will have ones for women and for people of color. And again, just really starting to be aware of what is available in your city, your town. So again, the locale of where you are or what sector you're in, and they will have awards. And then looking at the categories, which one do I fit in? And, we can talk next about what a nomination should look like, but everybody is deserving and amazing. And I think one thing to do is that when you start to find the award, is that start to think the year ahead. What do I want my numbers to look like? And it also helps to align it to the business strategy, is that if you are deciding to do awards, what is it that I need to be looking out for? And, one other organization that I remembered is that there's here we have the Small Business BC organization. And so they have small business awards. I think that's another significant one where there is small business. They even have immigrant awards. Immigration organizations will have awards. So there's awards everywhere. So it's really just a matter of, doing a Google search, seeing what's in your town, and as an entrepreneur, just keeping your eyes and ears open for what is available.
Even in Australia, there are so many different awards, and the next question, and I've got a few points down already that you mentioned, is so because it's great that also you obviously see behind the scenes as a judge too. So because this is my business partner just came second in a surfing competition, and last year he came first in Australian Championship, and he's like, second is nothing. Basically, you can come last. It's like coming last because nobody cares about coming second. So he was obviously quite upset about that. And it's the same with these awards. You can enter all these awards. If we come second, it's not that amazing as it is, the becoming first is what we want to aim for. So what are some ways to do really good submissions? Some of the things that you mentioned are obviously doing something interesting, also making a positive impact, because that's interesting for people to go, oh, okay, if you are in you said in the impact category, I believe, or the social impact category, or maybe doing something a little bit outside of the norm. And also something else you mentioned is looking ahead. So maybe thinking, okay, these are all the awards that are coming up. I feel like I need to hit certain numbers in a certain area so that I have a better chance. So what are some little hacks or big hacks that you can share?
Yeah. One would be is also, yes, look at your community impact and the work that you're already doing, either as an individual or as part of your organization, your company. And I say this because there are some awards, such as the Enterprise and Women's Awards, where they one significant category is the work that you're doing in the community. And so myself and my business partner, our company, we got into it. And there was drinks afterwards, after the awards that evening, and we started speaking to other entrepreneurs who hadn't won the award, and they were saying that they actually didn't have any community involvement. Now, it's not to say that you go out there and do community involvement because you decide you want to do an award. Like, please, this has to be genuine to do it. But it is now becoming more and more of an expectation that it's not just about the business. And this would probably be an exception for something like a tech award, which is very business oriented. But when you're looking at overall for an entrepreneur or something like a 40 under 40, the judging panel is looking to see the all-round success of the individual or of the business, and if there is that social impact. That also, what are your employee support programs? Are you what is your people performance plan? How are you supporting your team? Like, it's a very, very holistic approach that's looked at in judging. And I remember one year when I was a judge for the 40 under 40 awards here in Vancouver, we had one judge from the nonprofit sector, and that was specifically her looking at the lens of what everybody's community involvement was. So it is to say that they look at it like across all of the judging panel when they put it together. I'm often asked as a woman of color, and I hate to say that I feel like a token, but often there is that tokenism that we do need to have this. There's a recognition that from a DEI perspective, it needs to be there. But it's all to say is that the judges were usually female entrepreneur of color. There was a nonprofit leader. There's usually an accountant on there for anybody who will ask for any financial information, like they would have the accountants. You need to have the right numbers, stuff like that. So it's that well-rounded approach that you need to look at. And then as far as writing the nomination itself, I find that women do, and I'll be blunt, women need to do a better job of writing their nomination. And I think we're just taught not to boast, right? And so I worked with one of my clients, and she's an entrepreneur. And she led an organization, and she also sat on a number of boards where she was actually the board chair. But the way that she was writing her nomination was, myself and the board members had the highest recruitment and retention rates of all of the organizations throughout Canada. And I was like, hold on a second, you cannot write it like this. Like, you do need to take the credit for what you're doing. And so I had her changing the language in her application. I led the board, or I led this organization to have the highest recruitment and retention rates in Canada. And she was, again, I don't want this to sound like it's typical. Like, I want to be very careful as how I say this, but we don't tend to take the credit as women for the work that we've done, or to say that we are the leaders. But fundamentally, you are being asked to showcase your leadership, and you need to be able to do that. And so her application went from essentially weak, because she sounded like a follower or a member of the group, when the very true fact is that she was the leader who, because of all of the work that she did, all the volunteering that she did was extraordinary. She also had a very significant amount of community involvement, but she didn't talk about it. And so she'd raised, hundreds of thousands of dollars for different organizations and things. And so these are the things that we need to highlight. And I know when I've done, my awards applications or reference letters for other women, I will talk about how they contribute to increasing the skills or leadership opportunities for their team members, because also that is another significant factor, or any workplace innovation programs. So again, regardless of the gender, there is that you do in an application, it's not as straightforward as, I founded this business, this is how much we've grown, these are our numbers, which this is important, by the way, please do not forget about this. but usually the application form will ask you to talk about those things. So it ends up being natural. But yes, talk about your growth numbers, talk about what you've achieved, like create a narrative around it. And I remember when I worked in the UK, I worked with an entrepreneur who founded this incredible beer brand. And so he talked about how his narrative literally is that he drove around London with beer bottles in the back of his Citroen 2CV with a cracked floor in his car, driving it around London and selling door to door. Like that is a story, right? So tell the story, tell the narrative, but also showcase all of the extraordinary work that you're doing. Or maybe it's an amazing recruitment strategy that is so unreal. And I've heard so many amazing stories about, ways to recruit talent for your organization. So if there's something unique, like tell those stories, but also show up like the leader that you are. And again, I say this especially for women, is that showcase that. Because otherwise, like, one, you're not going to be recognized, but two, we so need to highlight what it is that we are doing.
It's such a great take on doing this, on doing submissions, because you really, obviously as a PR specialist with so many years of experience in PR, you're taking you're looking at this through a PR lens, and you're crafting a narrative. The story you talked about with this guy driving around with a broken car, basically selling beer. It's this sort of zero to hero story arch that he used, that we can all, many of us have come from nothing to success. So it's not just about, it's what I'm hearing is it's not just about talking about our success and how amazing we are and how, everything is incredible, but also where we've come from. So what led us to get here and how it all started, which I think is such a gold nugget for people to hear.
Yes. And, I think that we are, especially in a time where people can be more vulnerable with their stories. And so I think about, I believe it's the Sonos co-founder who talked about his experience with bipolar. And that story exploded across newspapers. And the story was told in such a compassionate, amazing way. But now that we are starting to tell their stories, is that bring it, bring all of yourself. It's a time of self-expression and vulnerability and telling these true and authentic stories. And, even for somebody who might be doing a podcast interview, for example, not just awards, that tell your story, because that is the one that sets you apart. What made you start your company? It's not just about like, oh, I decided to start my company. Well, no, what was the actual reason behind it? And that's why entrepreneurs do these things, is to be able to address and solve the issues. So tell the whole story, because that's what, one, you're amazing, but two, it makes you winnable. Everybody wants to hear this. And so keep saying it, keep story. It is the story of you and your brand and your company's brand.
Yeah, it really is all about storytelling. I've got a bit of a controversial question with and I might be wrong, with some awards, what I have found with some local awards, and I've won the Young Entrepreneurs Award years ago when I was young. and with some of the local awards, what I have found is that, so they do these dinners, you enter the award, it's actually quite easy to become a finalist. You just get your friends and clients to vote for you, you become a finalist, and then I always, and some of my friends always joked, and we said, well, if you buy enough tickets, $200 tickets to bring everyone, your team and everyone, your family, your friends, to go to this gala night, you're going to win. So what we always have perceived is that it's the ones that buy the most ticket. Is this wrong? Is this true?
I've never heard of this, to be honest. I've actually never heard of that, because usually, from all of my experience, everything has been decided beforehand. And so it actually doesn't have anything to do with that. But it's certainly a really great cheering section when you get everybody there. I will say that. But, one thing I do have to talk about is paying for awards, because like we often get these in our emails, right? And it's just whatever publication and whatever. I say lame, but from a PR perspective, if there is a decent publication, like, you Google them and they look authentic, maybe they have Instagram and it looks really valid, I'm not opposed to doing a paid one, because some of them, it's not a bad way to do it. And especially like, you said, a lot of your audience is accelerators. As you're building your business and building your profile, like, I hate to say it, we're all human. And so a client might be more like, oh, they're more credible because they do have this. And again, I don't want, please, all of you do not listen to this and go and buy awards. This is not the intent of saying this. But if it is a decent publication, and it also allows you to do some content marketing around it, like if you have social media for your business or for yourself and you're like, oh my God, I don't know what to say, but like, what am I supposed to come up with for content? It's not a bad content play to do it if it is the right publication, if the price is right. Like, I would never say spend $10,000 to do it, right? But are you going to get into a newsletter that's solid? But I've had some of them who are just like, oh, we have like 64 people on our YouTube, or you will get into our YouTube channel and I go on there, it's like 64 subscribers. I'm like, no, I'm not going to do this. But if something does seem authentic, it's not a bad thing because it helps you with the marketing. As entrepreneurs, we wear so many hats. And so if something is able to help you do it, I'm not opposed to do it, but you must look at it through a strategic lens and what you will get out of it.
Yeah, I think I personally couldn't do it because I would feel super incongruent to go and say I've won this award when really I've paid for the award. But having said that, other people might go like, you know what, I feel good about this. I'm happy to buy an award and then say I won an award, which is totally cool. I couldn't say that because I would feel, I guess it would be a conflict with one of my highest values, which is integrity. But having said that, it is, everyone's choice how they would want to win an award. I would want to win it because I'm doing good stuff.
Well, it's mostly is that when I say those is that you're going to be included in a ranking, right? Like, I would never want to pay to be number one. I agree with you on that one. But if you're going to be included in a ranking that's already being done, and again, like, it has to be done from a strategic move to be able to do it. Or sometimes they might be done for a city, and it all comes with like, is it worth it? Does it allow me to do some marketing? But again, yes, you're right. Does it feel good? But no, again, yes. Francis is absolutely right. Is that never do it to say that I won number one. Like, no, that is not the way to do it. And also is that in looking at something like, I was trying to remember who it was. There's one publication. It was a really good female award, but it was $400 to enter, and it was prestigious. But I was like, do I really want to pay $400 to do it? And we were like looking at cash flows and different things. Maybe I might have made a better decision if we were like, no, we actually want to be focusing on a different area of our cash flow. But that's one thing is that when you are applying for awards, there should be a very nominal application fee. I am finding that a lot of publications, just because of the nature of the industry, like the publication world, they do need the help. I'm not opposed to doing like a $50, $100, maybe $150. But to do the nomination, to pay to be able to nominate or self-nominate. But I wouldn't be looking at the $400 to $500 ones.
Yeah, 100% agree. I think it's okay to pay a nominal fee to enter, and probably everyone makes their own call on paying a lot of money to win.
Yeah.
Now, are there so much gold in here, and I love that we talked about this because we actually haven't covered this topic, and it's such an important marketing and PR topic on this show, and we've been running this show since 2011. We have never talked about awards. I know. So I'm so glad that we met and that you came on to talk about this. One last question that I generally ask is there anything that you would like to share or any question that you would have loved for me to ask? Any sort of final words?
No, I think you asked all of it. And, it for the entrepreneur who, again, I know that like you have so many hats to wear, but I do really believe that awards are so important. One, because they do so much of the marketing machine behind you. But again, it showcases all of the incredible work that they do, that you all do. And so I think it's something that's highly valuable to be doing and should be considered. And so that's my plug as to why I should do it. So, but no, thank you. I think you asked all of the questions.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Almira. Where can people connect with you on LinkedIn, or should we send them to your website? How would you like to be connected?
Yeah. LinkedIn, Almira Bardai. And then because I always say it's not the easiest name to spell, it's easiest on Instagram at Almira B, Almira B. That's much easier than spelling my whole name.
Perfect. And we'll also link LinkedIn and also your website in the show.
Perfect.
So thank you again so much for sharing your knowledge with us. And thank you to the listeners for tuning in, for taking the time to learn about this. And I can't wait to cheer you on when you enter and possibly win some awards. Thank you so much.
Good luck to you all. Thank you.
To get more from Basic Bananas and to learn new ways to grow your business with clever marketing, visit basicbananas.com.